I want to vent. My wife was unfaithful to me last year. It ends badly. I'm going to try to make a short story. I still can't get my head around it, and overall it sounds like a story from a soap opera or something. I'm a 23-year-old male and my ex-girlfriend is 22. We're in a relationship since we were 16 and we're together for 6 years. Nothing seemed wrong until my head turned, and went into major depression to doing nothing but sitting all day and night to be playing on my PC. Having no job and no friends is what happens to a man. Towards the end, a guy stayed at our next-door neighbor's house to visit, as he had just been out on bail and was on tag. Not sure the whole story about that. Anyway, my ex-girlfriend gets too comfortable with said newcomer guy and I notice something strange, that they are arguing as if they are together and in a relationship. I bring it up to her and she says, "We are just friends, don't worry." I said yes, it didn't matter, and moved on. I ended up getting a job and progressed quite a bit in the industry. A few months later, it turns out he didn't realize I was back from work and he blurts out some stuff to me about her being physical with him, and their affair. I didn't process it until someone told me what he had said, and that's when it all started to fall apart. I got all the information I needed and the story was done. Or so I thought. I moved out and stayed at my grandparents' house without stopping going to work and trying to get back to normal. Phone call from my ex-girlfriend out of the blue saying, "He's drunk and getting really violent, and I'm going to help her and make sure I'm close to the neighborhood in case something bad happens." Long story short, he was taken away in a riot van for resisting arrest. A few days later, I go to pick up more stuff from my now former home. It's late at night and the newcomer appears out of nowhere. No one would let him stay in his house, so he stayed outside near the canal. He drunkenly talks to me, apologizes and basically tells me the story that I'm a decent guy and that I shouldn't be suicidal, because I knew he was depressed before all this happened. I finish the conversation and gather my things. I go back to my grandparents and get ready to go to work in the morning. 7:30 a.m. I'm at work and my ex-girlfriend calls me. She's gone. I'm confused and ask who? What? Turns out the person she cheated on me with had committed suicide in the middle of the night near the canal. That's the story, as crazy as it sounds and untrue, but it's something I want to get off my chest. Any questions please ask, and any advice is appreciated on how to not constantly think about this thing. Summary: I was cheated on. The guy she cheated on me with committed suicide weeks later. I am so sorry, you have been victimized and traumatized. It sucks, it's not your fault. If you can get professional help to process this, I recommend it. Speechless, I'm so sorry, trauma is the worst. Opie, it's not your fault, no need to apologize. I'm currently in a relationship with someone I've known since high school for over 10 years, but it's hard to think she's going to do the same thing even when she doesn't and won't. I have told her my side of the story and honestly I like her and she understands. It may sound cold, but it's not her circus, not her monkeys. Go to zero contact and block her for Jesus' sake. Opie, already blocked. I should have put that at the end of my post. I had my number changed once I got all my stuff. Okay, first, since you are finally done taking all the bad vibes from your old place, are you finally going to break up with your ex? Because you are asking how not to think about her and the answer is to not have her in your life anymore. End of story. You can't forget people if you talk to them once in a while. So cut her off. She is an adult. She made her decision. She is not a princess. You are not a knight and you are not going to save her. She is responsible for her own life and decisions. Regarding the guy she cheated on you with, she did what she did and not because of you, so don't feel guilty, and you were probably somewhat relieved that he died, and it's normal to feel that way when bad things happen to people who hurt us, but don't say it out loud. Opie, I broke up with her when I got all my stuff out of there. She kept spamming me, so I had to change my number. The thing about her dying is I don't know how I feel, because she kind of wanted answers. Did she do it with him for her own benefit, or did it help show me what she's really like? Turning the tables on my ex-wife for her infidelity and immaturity. Long story short, my wife asked me for a divorce. After moving out a few months later, I was apologizing to her for random things, feeling like I was the reason for the divorce. I suspected she cheated on me a lot but had no proof, and I was torn between that and her just wanting out or having an emotional breakdown. I tried several times at first asking her what I could do to fix it, and she always turned me down, and I felt very guilty. Case closed. He finally admitted to indirectly cheating on me. A day later, I contacted her by mail and wrote her a list of things I needed to change if I wanted to give her a chance. She wrote me back and said, "Who told you she wanted to get back with you? She was done, she wasn't interested." I told her, "Oh, you still have a chance." So I wrote her back and told her that she was the one who screwed up and went behind my back without any justification, as I did nothing wrong, and if anyone has a chance it won't be me, it will be her, and I have a lot to offer any woman. And if she doesn't want her chance, that's on her. That felt so empowering. The tables were turned. For the past few months she had been acting like it was me screwing up, and her family too, like she was playing the victim. It has been a huge victory and has changed my attitude a lot, as I felt I needed to tell her. Today I needed her to give me information for a document, and she answered me in a much more normal way, without getting angry, making smart remarks, or being brief. I think a great power move would be to act like you don't care about her anymore, not offering her a second chance, no regrets, etc. Move on and improve yourself and your life. In a year or two, when you are in shape and dating someone who really respects and loves you, you will look back and think you were ridiculous to even think about giving her a second chance. And also, if your lawyer doesn't advise against it, tell everyone what really happened, because I'm sure she's already badmouthed you to everyone and made you the bad guy. OP, luckily no lawyers, divorce by mutual agreement, simple agreement, she didn't get anything and she didn't want anything. The truth is I don't know if I'm going to reach out to her family or if I'm going to text her mother, since in her culture her family is very closed-minded and very involved with her. I don't know if I will or not, but she has definitely painted me as the bad guy in the movie. I'm glad you're feeling better, but if I may ask, why are you giving him a list of things to give him a chance when he clearly doesn't want it? It's over, deal with it and move on, zero contact, as much as possible, and gray rock to his body. Did either of your spouses change radically when you got married? My wife seemed to become a completely different person almost overnight when we got married. No more deliciousness, she stopped caring about my needs. She became extremely self-centered and everything revolved around her needs. She went from being a rather loving, caring and wonderful person to feeling incredibly entitled, abusive and focused on where we were headed as a couple, which was primarily our careers and finances. When my wife and I were dating, we were intimate on a regular basis and she would perform oral on me whenever I wanted. After we were married, we had intercourse twice in the entire year before we filed for divorce and, of course, she absolutely refused to give me oral. When I got fired, I work in startups, so this happens often. While we were dating, she was very supportive and concerned about me. When I got fired while we were married, anyone would say something terrible had happened to her. She was furious and angry with me, yelling at me, "How could you do this to me?" I had a lot of savings and got a job within a few weeks, so it wasn't like it affected anything. My wife changed so much that within 2 weeks of marriage she wanted out. I took her to therapy less than a month later. I hung in there as long as I could, but I was out the door after less than a year. Did anyone else experience a drastic change in their spouse after marriage? My ex cheated on me. I definitely ignored some red flags when I was dating him due to my youth, but it was nothing like what happened during marriage. About a year after we got married, he quit his job and refused to work. From then on everything went downhill, no intimacy, no affection whatsoever, selfish. Looking for his own interests above all the time, even his children. A despicable human being. But there were some warning signs, like I said. I was young and didn't recognize them. Opie, sorry to hear that. Yes, it happened to me in my hasty first marriage, so I was careful about dating my now husband for several years. It still happened to me. A week after we were married and living together, he started punching doors and yelling at me. I was so stunned that it took me a long time to leave. Opie, I'm sorry, this is the hardest part for me. I don't know how I will ever get married again knowing this can happen again. My 29-year-old wife flirted via text with a client. I, a 31-year-old male, just did 6 years of marriage this January. We have 2 children together. My wife is a manager at a medical spa. I have always periodically scrolled through her phone's text messages just as a peace of mind. Well, on January 1st I did it again. The text messages from her and the client were deleted, but I came across texts with her friend from work talking about him not texting her back and how he was driving her crazy. In these texts with her friend I found some screenshots of her text messages. Nothing ever happened between them other than texting, and the hot part was all very generalized. They never had plans to date or anything, and she says they were even very awkward when he went to the spa in person. It was all over text messages. She says it all had to do with her insecurities and it made her feel better about herself. Any of the clients who go to the spa are wealthy, fit and attractive, and probably a combination of all three. Both male and female clients. The fact that I can't retrieve the text messages makes it that much harder to move on. It's eating me up not knowing everything that was said. Actually, they only texted back and forth for maybe 2 weeks or so over the course of about 6 to 8 weeks. What are your thoughts on this? Any ideas on how to get the messages back? I have tried several things to no avail. I think you will remember this as the beginning of the end. The self-esteem excuse is poor, the intent was there, and that is the problem. We'll do it again, sorry brother. Opie, that's basically my mentality right now, and if I can't retrieve the messages I can't make the determination of how deep I am that I really got. It sucks when people need proof. I'd say you got enough. She destroyed a boundary of trust and loyalty from your marriage. It's not right, she hurt you, end of story, it's over, you don't need any more excuses because you deserve a better deal. You deserve the vows she gave you, trust, loyalty and respect are gone from your side. I hope you are able to learn better than many, and just walk away. Otherwise it will be a long journey of distrust and bitterness that awaits you if you stay. Opie, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of whatever journey I take. For myself, but mostly for my children, I have prayed and prayed that I would never put them through a divorce, as I went through one as a child. So your wife cheated on you, she deleted the messages so you could not find them. She also communicated with a coworker about her feelings for this guy. What does that tell you about her feelings for him and her ability to keep cheating on you? You say she works at a spa, so how do you know they could have been together in one of the spa rooms when he has been there visiting? How do you know it wouldn't have led to that if it hadn't already? Sorry kid, but when people are cheated on it doesn't matter if at some point you can forgive them, you will never forget their ability to cheat on you.